Mm. Dear Thai, dear beautiful community, so wonderful we can be together, sharing this space. If we, beyond the screen, I am sitting here on the edge of our continent, California, and you're somewhere in the middle there. And we're aware that thanks to technology, we actually share the same moment together. It's amazing that I'm looking there. The camera is a little high, so I feel like I'm looking, um, yeah, just to be in the same hall with you. Um, and well, first want to just thank the brothers and sisters for opening up their monastery to begin to allow our friends to come and take refuge. And yeah, I feel very grateful. They're short-handed over there, but they still continue to open up for friends to come. And we are slowly here too, Deer Park. Next week we'll have a teen camp with a lot of teenagers coming. I will go down there and camp with them. A lot of monks and nuns. We will camp with the teenagers along with the staff and aspirants. So it's a kind of immersion in nature, a bonfire and so on. So we just feel very grateful that our monastery is slowly opening up for people to come. And I think you probably feel that now. Just take a break from your house, your box, and just come and be in the environment of the monastery. So already there's something happening, whether you aware it or not, but your body more relaxed. I think you're on your third or fourth day. So I hope everyone is just, yeah, finding the time to take care of yourself and, yeah, to allow your body, your mind just to relax and take a break. Like I would say, a retreat is a treat. So please, take care of yourself. And that's all it is. The monastery, we organize these retreats with different themes and so on, different titles, different intention, but it's all the same thing. So, actually, we're selling the same product, but we're just changing the package. And so when I heard this about this retreat, it's also an aspiration of mine to bring creativity, music, art, and just that whole aspect. How many of you out there are in any creative field, like artist, musician? Wonderful. And many of the brothers and sisters, we also explore art, whether that's visual or music. Our teacher was also an artist, and that's one thing I love about our tradition. There's this, you know, curiosity or have space for creativity in our community, in our practice. And it's just not all folding legs and sitting there looking at a wall, but actually to allow ourselves to express ourselves in terms of music, song, poetry, art, gardening, even making tea. So this is, just a great gratitude to our teacher to create such a kind of open and, yeah, very, yeah, uh, very humanistic practice or tradition. Yeah, so meditation includes so many other aspects in our lives and our exploration as a human being, and that includes music and art. So I feel very grateful that Magnolia is doing this retreat, and I hope we do it regularly. And Deer Park, we the next meeting we have for upcoming next year's retreat, I will propose to do one too. So many people who are in art who are also meditators, and we need to learn how to create art that nourishes the wholesome goodness and inspire people to live life fully. So I just wanted to share that gratitude to our brothers and sisters there and to our teacher. to allow us to have this aspect in our lives. I like Sister shared, I grew up as an architect, so there's a lot of part of me that grew up with art. I went to a university that had a lot of focus on film, like film and art. So I was around a lot of artists and filmmakers, very creative people, and I love that aspect of of exploring the world and learning how to communicate. Come up with ideas. But now that we're in a monastery, what does creative spirit have to do with anything? And the way I see, the creative energy, it's basically a life force in us. That when we are in harmony with ourselves, when we are finding balance, then that energy, the creative energy, is flowing in us. That actually, when we look at the world, we're present to it. When your mind is not caught in your suffering, your sadness, your despair, or caught by your craving, your addiction, your so on, you're actually very creative and very alive in the present moment. You just reach, you don't react from a space of closeness, of closure, of ideas, but you actually allow novelty to be present, or even things that are like, wow, you're surprised at everything. Like, just imagine yourself as a child, a 6-year-old, 5-year-old. They just don't have ideas about anything, so everything is a curiosity to them. I don't know if you been with children, but that's what I love about children, and I learn so much from children. The curiosity, the openness to kind of like, whoa, why does that happen? But as as we grow up, as we get educated, and and so on, we lose that way of looking, the curiosity, the openness, we become very idea oriented and not really in the moment. If you ever play with children, as soon as you start to like think too much or have too much talking, not present, the children find you very boring. So whatever you share with them, it's got to be very immediate, and that is a kind of a way of how do you call it, honoring creativity, this energy that keeps us very alive and open to whatever unfolds. And so with that kind of framework, in terms of how I see, creative energy and being present and being curious, this is what meditation helps us with. Is every time you sit and meditate, this posture, this way of sitting, it's been developed for, over two millennia, right? 2,500 years and even before that, in terms of the human evolution. I like to frame it like meditation is like, why did humans first do this? Like, who came up with the first? I love thinking about this, like, who invented cereal, or like, why, who discovered like kombucha, or pickle, like. So every time, there's something in the world, you ask us like, wow, I imagine the first person that did this, what were they thinking? So just try to think of like, as human beings, the first kind of people that like went into the forest, fold their legs and sat still. What were they doing? I mean, you ever thought about that? It's like, why do we do that? Fold our legs, tie it like a knot, and just sit there and follow our breathing. What is the message with that? And that's for me the journey of being human. I think we've evolved through time to actually, I imagine the first people that did it was a reaction to society. Like, God, why are we running? Why are we just doing things that, have no meaning from 9 to 5, driving on the freeway, grunging this. So for me, it's like the first person did this question all that. So they decided to sit still and reflect. And through that kind of intention, slowly the tradition of meditation, of stopping, coming back, and the breath became the tool for this whole that connects this whole tradition. So the Buddhists or the meditators or the how do you call it, the mendicant, they have so many names, the Moonies, the sages, right? They were all like exploring, their mind, their what it means to be a human being. And so this, for me, this is our tradition. So I want to frame meditation as our kind of continue exploration, what it means to be a human being in this lifespan. You have maybe 30, 40 more years. You can use this to actually reflect. We make time to actually look deeply at our lives that we've experienced before, and now what it means to be a human being. Because this way of awareness, this attention, will be in this way for only 30, 40 more years of your life. If you're lucky, 50 more years. I can't tell your age, but just be aware of that. Like, wow, it is a miracle that I'm sitting here, and all it just with the change of attention, I'm aware of my body, my mind. I'm aware of my breath. I mean, that right there is a miracle that, human consciousness, the animal consciousness evolved through the chimpanzee and so on, through this very moment where we're like, wow, I can actually, make my mind be present and not have to worry about anything. And that is a kind of freedom to be able to choose that. And this is very, very important now, because our lives are so scattered and so distracting and so like too much accessible. You're just bombarded with just too much. As human beings, we're not meant to have that access to all the news and information. It's crazy. And so that's why, in this time, why meditation is so important for us to how do you call it, to reclaim our sovereignty, as Tai would say. Tai would use the word sovereignty. And this is as a human being, as a artist, we need to really, how do you call it, resist this kind of like collective force that tries to pull us away. And, every time I have to go in the city, which I, lately haven't gone often, but, you're constantly aware of things pulling you away, advertisement, even perfume, the smell. It's like, gosh, everything is trying to pull your attention away. So I just wanted to share that why the practice is so important now, so that we can, maintain, be true to ourselves. And this is what you're doing actually as you come to the monastery. You're training to have a new habit of behavior. You learn to slow down. I mean, it looks ridiculous if you're running around the monastery. You look really funny, I would say. I think Tai wrote a calligraphy. I said, slow down. no, stop running. You look silly. Can you believe that? I think Ty wrote it once. I saw it, and I don't know where that calligraphy it has gone, but it is true. So when you come to the monastery, you learn to slow down and learn to, yeah, be with your steps. You learn to sit still. When you're eating, we have a rule: one sit. You sit there and just, because eating is sometimes a habit as well. So we're learning to habituate ourselves with all these energy. So that's the benefit of coming to the monastery. You get to learn new ways of being. And many of us will go back home, and right away, some of us, it will kick right back in, even before you leave the monastery, right? So the habit is very strong. So please, you know, take your time to learn how to slow down, to stop, to be still. And this is very conducive to connecting with creativity, with newness. In Buddhism, we call it the beginner's mind. And it's in any tradition, is very important, the beginner's mind. And this is what why there's so much, why it's such an important idea in meditation, because it involves our habits of thinking. Because, as an animal, as part of survival, we have to not have to look at everything. We try to summarize, generalize, and kind of just guess. But it creates a lot of problem, because we have ideas in our mind, right? Notions about who we are and what we've gone through. So these we call it mental formations, or we call them kind of like views, notions, ideas about who we are, what the world is like, what that group is, what our father is, who our mother is. We have a lot of notion. And so it hampers our curiosity, our openness, right? So our mind is full of notions and ideas. And actually, that is the root and the foundation of suffering. You just take a moment, and that's if you have some sadness, some suffering, and then you go one level down, oh, it's because I have this idea. I have this narrative, right? They call it, I hear the word narrative a lot lately. It's our storytelling. It's our way we describe our place in the world. And so that also becomes a habit, just like the habit of rushing or restlessness or dispersion we have in terms of. But psychologically, spiritually, we also have a habit of just holding on to these ideas that we have. You see how that relates to beginners? Cannot move beyond that. And the more you can, your that mental habit is there. That is the root of suffering. When things don't go your way, when people have a different view, when when things come, as a young boy, a young girl, you're kind of oh, and then you begin to, and then as they progress, around 3 years old, 2 years old, everything is they don't even know what not to put in their mouth, what not to explore. They want to crawl around. They want to jump into the pond this last weekend. It's it's not safe, but kids, they just, want to jump in. They want to swim with the goldfish. And then we say no, and then no, 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 no. And then so the children begin to, and you can see they cry, and it's why can't I do that? You see how we have been raised, upbringing. No, I mean, conventionally, we should safety and all that stuff. But you can see through education, why not. People tell you basically education is like creating boundaries, what is conventional, what is accepted and not. Sorry, this is a little bit unconventional, but if you think about it, I remember in school, I drew. I mean, I guess it's traumatic in the sense that now I still remember it. My teacher told me that's not how you draw the sun, and the way she said it was so harsh that I remember it now. So I guess that's like a real kind of energetic thing that the teacher transmitted to me, and I in a way I was hurt because now I still remember it. And it's like, why can't we paint draw the sun like that? And so a lot of our suffering is our life energy, our creativity, our sense of wonder, has been like what do you call it? I would say like, put like a plastic around it, plastic bag. And that's what we do to ourselves and we do to other people. And this is the power of meditation. When you can sit, you can regulate yourself, calm yourself, and your mind become more open and clear. That's beginner's mind, is being open. Then you begin to see so much. You can see the cause of your suffering. Where did it come from? You can see the root of the reason why you behave the way you behave, the habits that you have. This, see, the power of meditation is like they honed it down to a few methods for us to begin to look deeply. And meditation has those two aspects: to stop and then to look. And when we look and we have a clear mind, then we begin to understand. That is the basic formula. And as an artist, as anyone in the creative field, as a human being, that is the most rewarding thing, is when you realize something, right? You're gonna, oh, now I understand my father. And now, you're free from your resentment. Isn't it crazy? When you have a true insight, it transforms you, it heals you, and you become a freer person. Not that you free as in you can do whatever you want, but free from your resentment, from your releasing. That is, you come back to the beginner's mind, to the childlike mind. And this is not a sense of naivety, no, you understand and you look more deeply, you've seen more deeply the nature of how suffering is, how suffering comes about. So someone who knows that is not a victim of that. So again, insight. So stopping, looking, and having insight. And insight in meditation is like a jewel. It's like the most precious thing because it can liberate you. It can transform you. It can heal you. And that's where the link is with artists. What is that? An artist is like innovation, novelty, a new way of looking at things. They challenge what a spoon is. That was my first exercise in architecture school. What is a spoon? And our professor was asked us to don't be caught with what people have told you a spoon looks like. So we had to come up, we had 20 different ways. Every student in that class came up with 20 different ways to redefine what a spoon is. Can you imagine that? And so it's again, is to question and to understand more deeply, not just what has been brought down to us from our education, our family, our upbringing. So who do you think you are might be a trap, right? So this is it could be actually the thing that causes you a lot of suffering. Oh, I am type A, B, C. Oh, I'm an extrovert, introvert. I'm outgoing. I love. So these things can be a trap because sometimes you cannot live up to it, and sometimes you cannot release yourself from it. So this is the nature of suffering. So let us take a breath, and as we listen to the bell, again, to come back to this moment and to know we are here without all the labels and narrative and story. We are just here as a living, breathing being without any notion. So we allow openness. And I think many of you probably are familiar with art being used as therapy. And I always wonder, about that, why that is so linked. And it's very like I shared, it allows a person to be creative and to touch the beginner's mind, because art is exploration, visually or musically, right? Is to and to actually come in touch with your judgment, you know, right? When you do art, all of a sudden the inner child comes in. It's like, oh, I can't do that. It's oh. So you see the link between childhood suffering, upbringing, art, and why you continue to suffer. It's the narrative. It's like, oh no, wait, somebody's gonna not like it. Oh, it's not perfect. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, it shouldn't be like that. So all this childhood 2 to 6 year old stuff that people, adults in education have told you, no, 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 is stuck in you. It's called a mental knot. And with meditation, with art, you can actually heal and begin to see that and come in touch with that. And then actually free yourself. And it's like, no, it's okay to do that. The sun can have ziggy, weird lines coming out because, it doesn't have to be straight. Gosh, I've done many sun drawings as an adult just to say that it's okay to draw the sun like that. And it's very healing, to actually finally accept yourself as you are, imperfect, unpredictable, and it's okay. And that's what's beautiful about being alive. It's like, gosh, don't be so predictable. Bring some surprises in your life and novelty. And this is what I have to honor to my art teachers. I have to do a shout out because in preparing for this, I visualize them, and I remember my beautiful memories of being in my class with my teachers. My ceramics teacher, Mrs. Ramos. She is I would say, the first person that taught me how to center myself as I throw clay and try to make a pot. She said, "Don't lose your center. Move with the clay from your waist and keep your breathing flowing. Don't hold your breath." Many of us, we start and we hold our breath. What is that? Tightness. Not, I'm going to get it wrong. I can't control it. You see, not flowing. So I remember she taught us, relax, stay with your breath, move from your center, your waist. You put your two elbows onto the side and you, amazing. Don't try to control it. I mean, these are the instructions of a ceramics teacher to kids. Trust yourself. I remember that, trust yourself. Don't try to control. This is amazing. This is meditation at its height, to flow with the clay. What is that? You can, replace the word clay with life. Don't try to control it, everything. Relax, flow with it, allow it to surprise you. There is no mistake. Once you have that trust, it is amazing. Your hands, your fingers, you move and the clay moves and you become really at one with it, which in art, and now in sports, flow is huge in the meditation and in the innovative, even in technology. Companies now are talking about flow because they're trying to hamper and to hone in and to make into a package innovation. How do I get my employees to be more innovative? That is the whole Silicon Valley, by the way. Everybody wants to be the next novel and rich billionaire by coming up with the next startup. And so they're trying to hone in, and that's why meditation is being packaged for them. Again, so my teacher, Mrs. Ramos, she taught me first meditation. And I want to do a shout out to my art teacher, art history teacher. He's the one that opened my eyes to see the beauty of the world and how artists try to communicate that, through the banal activity of washing a pot, a tin pot from a certain area, where artists were exploring like ordinary people doing ordinary things. And there's beauty in it by the way they make a light ray shine. So this is my art teacher, Mr. Gregory. He's Greek. And I'll never, every time I say goodbye to him from the class, he takes his hand, and his hand was so big, he can grab my whole face like this. And so these art teachers, these human beings, transmitted a way of looking at the world. And I remember, what I learned from Mr. Gregory. He said, don't concern yourself whether you like or dislike an art piece. That is not the point. Concern yourself and ask yourself, do you understand the artist and what they are trying to communicate? Wow. I mean, that really stuck with me to this very moment. And I honor him and I transmit that to you. Don't worry about whether you like it or don't like it. Ask yourself, do you understand it? Wow, you just live your life based on that, you're done. You're like, you got it. Because so much of our lives is about drama. Oh, I agree. I don't agree. Oh, this fits with my way of thinking. Oh, this doesn't. Either way, you're stuck. You don't really allow things to flow. So anytime you are confronted with the suffering within, or another person, or the world, or what is happening, yeah, of course, the immediate reaction is sadness, shocked, whatever that initial, but then move on, beyond like whether it fits your narrative or not, but try to understand why it happened, why they are like that, why they behave like that, why you behave like that, why you reacted like that. That is the Buddha's path. It's not a Buddhist thing, but it is what humans have, come to this tradition is just human beings come together and they want to question why things happen. So it's not a Buddhist thing. And yeah, I just wanted to break that out from a Buddhist religion, but see it more in light of these people, these monastics, these people who took themselves out of the convention and started to question why things happen, rather than, oh, it fits my narrative, it fits my story, it doesn't fit, so that's all we do in life, and that is the suffering of the human drama, right? You pick up a newspaper, look at it like that, whether you don't go, oh, I agree, I disagree. Why is it like that? Why did they behave like that? Oh, greed, corruption, so on. And then understand, oh, why did the writer write it like that? Why, what is it trying to, because every article you read has a narrative from the newspaper, from the media, and from the writer. So a free person is a person who is free from all that. You watch, and I watch different media and different from different groups, and I look at it with curiosity. Oh my God, I can't believe you would actually, what seed are you watering with this article? More division, more discrimination, more closeness. And so you see the child, curious. Why did that happen? Why? So this is the magic of this tradition. And so, and then you need time for this. And you need to create this as a habit. So the training in the monastery is learning this new way of stopping and looking, and knowing when your mind is clear and knowing when it is not clear. And with clarity is when you have less notions about things, preconceived views, right? Like, just think of the last argument you had. It's basically, you just don't want to let go of something. And they don't want to let go of something. And what's funny is, like, have you ever been the third person between two friends and that your two friends are arguing? I remember this from like my younger years with college. Like, friends would argument, and I remember many times going like, yeah, but they both turned to me and it's like, what do you think? And I was like, I think both of you are right. It's like, why, I don't know why you're arguing. No, you can't choose that. You gotta like have an idea about this. Like, no, I think, I really don't, I'm neutral. I don't have any notion about this. Isn't that amazing? It's like, to be a person who doesn't have a notion about it, you know, you're not arguing. You're just like, kind of like, God, you guys, it's not a big deal. But like, there was like, no, it is. You gotta like agree with one of us. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna agree with either of you. So a person who doesn't have a notion, doesn't have a narrative, who doesn't have a view, is a free person from the human drama. That is, remember that visual, okay? Two people arguing, and you're in there, you're sitting, like, oh, come on, you guys. And I'm sure you have been in that spot with your children, with your sibling, with your parents. You're like, Mom, Dad, it's okay. Well, I don't know why we're making a big deal out of this, And that is the key to meditation, is to make that become a habit. And that requires training, because there's a lot of hidden unconscious biases that we have, that we don't know, that we still are carrying. And the worst ones are the notions about ourselves. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I need to be like this. I need to be like that. That is basic modern society, unfortunately. We become civilized, and And that's what it means. It means that we become kind of boxed in. And that is the reason why a lot of us are suffering in society, why there's depression, sadness, and all this stuff, because people haven't learned how to see what society is doing, what the market economy is doing, what the military is doing, what the government is doing, so that it can, I'm sorry, I'm getting to my rebel talk now. But basically, you're an artist, and an artist is also a rebel. They challenge views. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. A door could be like a window. A table can be a chair. A chair can be a bed. Why not? So an artist is a way to, if you're a real artist, you should challenge conventional views. As a meditator, you should challenge conventional views, and particularly your view. I love to share this. Buddhism is not to accumulate more views. If you are a Buddhist, if you practice the Buddhist path, is to remove reviews. Isn't that amazing? It's the same thing, but it is such a counter way of looking at how society education is. So we think we actually should accumulate. Novelty, innovation, what is that? It's actually removing our notions of how it was done in the past. And so that's how you get creative. And that's why, you have these kind of moments. You're like, aha, what is aha? Right? Aha is like, there's something as beyond your comprehension, beyond your notion. And you're like surprised. So all the Zen masters in the history of this tradition, there was a moment where they're like, oh my gosh, in their language. Right? The arahats, the Zen masters, I went to China, and they love to have like all these statues, and they're like different statues for different times that these ancestral teachers got enlightened. And there is one where their ancestor teacher got enlightened while he was picking his ear. I swear, I didn't take a picture of that shit, but I would love that statue. They were like picking his ear, and he got enlightened. So actually, the statue is him with his one leg up, and he's got a finger in his ear. I was like, God, that is so cool. It's not like folded leg and looking solemn and like beautiful and inspiring and peaceful, but like this monk is kind of thin monk with the robe barely on, and he's like picking his ear. Isn't that inspirational? It's like, wow, you can get enlightened picking your ear. But enlightened here is not some great mystical, omnibus, world-changing thing, but it's basically, he's released his view about something. That's enlightenment. You finally release that ultimate view, notion about yourself and the world. And that moment is like the universe shift. That is what it is. And it's not like some world-changing thing, but within you, every cell in your body tingles and all the goosebumps rise. That moment right there, while he's picking his ear, he got goosebumps. And after that, he's not the same again. He won't react. He won't judge. He would be more kind, compassionate, soft, whatever. I'm sure he probably, the first person that saw him is like, whoa, what happened to you? You're so much softer. How come you're not reacting like you normally react? So when you go home from this retreat, remember that. When you see your loved one, they're going to go, what happened to you? How come you're slowing down and you're not reacting to me? That is very suspicious. What did they do to you at the retreat? You're smiling and your face is so relaxed. It's like you don't look normal, you know. People write us about this, so this is all coming from people who return home. Anyway, this is a very linked again to coming back to why beginner's mind is important. And yeah, let's take a moment to see ourselves in a few days in our home, in our workplace, and our face, our body has changed. Right in this moment, we can touch that future where we don't have a notion, where we don't have to argue and fight for our rightness. How free. So I smile to myself in a few days. So much freer, so much lighter. So mm, this has always been a kind of curiosity with my when I entered meditation, and it involved intuition. And there was we would usually think intuition is something like that people have or don't have it, but through meditation I've learned that actually intuition, the ability to trust yourself and to know what to do, and usually it is pretty good for yourself. Meditation has helped me hone in that. So intuition can be trained and can be honed. And why intuition? Not just for creative field, but it should be available and taught to every human being to trust themselves. You see, and that's very linked to letting go a lot of notions about who we are. Intuition is actually not cerebral base. You know, many people say now we're a little bit over left brain trained. We think too much, and we're very complicated. So intuition is this innate gut feeling, because we are part of the universe. We're part of the unfolding of life energy, right? Where did we come from? What do you think? You think you just dropped off? Somebody made you, and who you think you are. You know, we actually, from a whole lineage of from our parents, grandparents, and all our human animal ancestor, we have evolved to this point. So we've never been disconnected with nature, with Mother Earth, with the planet, the solar system, and so on. And that's what I love about science, that it has given us this ability to see this continuity, And intuition is basically our connection with life force, with the universe, right? And when we are in connected with that, it's very linked to our happiness. And that's why we need to take a break from human drama, human convention, 9 to 5, calendars, clocks, these notions that actually bind us and limit us, walls, buildings. Go out there, lay on the grass, be worm, hug a tree, be mycelial, be mushroom. Lay down and be mushroom. We were doing that. Sit out in the forest. and allow the bird song to play with yourselves. Intuition is that. And this is for me uh, uh, what I try to, and what I would teach the, the teenagers as well. Because we become so afraid. We don't trust anymore. I'm sorry, it's through our upbringing and our education. And so what I try to do now is, and when I play with my niece and nephews, the same thing, it's like, take off your shoes, dirt is fine. Rub your hand in it. Don't be afraid of dirt. And so intuition is very linked to that. The way we have compartmentalized and we like have ideas about these things of the human, story, right? We have to be successful. You have to make a life out of yourself. What is your career? These are all kind of limiting. I'm sorry. I'm really very passionate, as you can see, about this, because I was able to like break out of it for myself, and it's the greatest happiness to be confined by the ideas and expectations of your parents and other people, that actually allow yourself. And this is very important in our process of healing. Healing, yes, you're wounded, you've been wrong. That's one aspect. But part of life, as you see, is also growth, thriving. So innovation is intuition is that. And we've lost touch with that. So meditation is basically, each time you sit, remember that you're honing intuition, you're harnessing, you are cultivating your inner trust. That's intuition. This is good for me. But because of the mind and all these other ideas, we undermine ourselves because we are afraid to fail in the eyes of our teacher, our parents, and whatever ideas you have. So intuition is so liberating, because you actually, okay, I made a mistake. That wasn't. Then you learn why you intuited, but it was wrong. Oh, it's because I had this other fear. So every time there's a mistake, you go like, oh, it's probably related to some kind of grasping or aversion. Anytime you hurt yourself, it's probably because you're grasping, you're running, you're doing something faster than naturally should be done, right? Anytime you hit your hand, anytime you fall, think about it. You're not flowing. You are running because your idea of rushing towards something, or you're running away because you don't want to be judged and to be seen. That is the basic formula of suffering: aversion and grasping. So your intuition, you're like, okay, I don't need to do this. So every time you sit and meditate, that is what you're honing. Every time you follow your breath, and just follow your breath, you are taking a break from your notions. Isn't that amazing? I remember realizing that. It's like, oh, I have a break from all my ideas. How nice. And yeah, it's so you talk about like it's that simple. That's how this tradition is. It's not complicated. You don't need to read all the Buddhist books. It's all it is. It's just sitting down and taking a break from all your thinking. We are such an overthinking society nowadays. And that's what my aspiration is with these teenagers. I'm going to get them to lay on the road and look at the night star. We're going to like do, what is it? We're supposed to go to sleep by 9, but I'm going to take them out and like break the rules and like lay on the road. That's my plan, by the way, because Oh, you think they're wild? We're gonna be a little bit more wild than the teenagers, you know? Sneak out of the tent and like, let's don't let anybody know. And that's beautiful, you know? So, anyways, please take care of yourself. I'll just end by sharing that we need to trust that we know our body knows how to heal, our mind knows how to heal, our body and mind knows how to thrive because we are part of everything that's living that wants to thrive. And part of that thriving involves a decay, a breaking, a loss, a death. So this is important. Grieve, go through sadness, but also counterbalance it. Plant a tree. I planted a tree, a cedar tree, my family, for my father. And every week now I go there to take care of it. I water it. And that is a manifestation of my love for my father. And every time I water it, I sit there and I contemplate my father and the beautiful memories we have together. And he's still with me. And I was like, let's take care of these. I invite him to take care of the teens with me, as he took care of me when I was young, giving me rides on his motorcycle. You see how the mind, it is in our hands to create narratives, to create new stories that free us. That is the artist, to reinvent the story so it liberates us. Don't hold on to those stories, those artwork in your mind that limit you, that cause you to tighten up, to be fearful. So learn to create new stories and trust that you don't know as well. You know, try not to control everything. And that's very a creative act, to trust that I can't control everything on the campus. Just let it run and just let my hand flow without trying to control the form. These are things I learned from my art teacher. And I pass it on to you. And this is what we do with meditation, is to discover, new ways of behaving, thinking, and that will affect our interaction with everything around us, the animals, the plants, the human beings, our neighbor, our loved ones. So I wish you the best in your continued practice. You have a few more days, and please hold that image, okay? You're gonna, tingle, have goosebumps, and when you come home, your loved ones are gonna like freak out. I was like, what happened to you? You so relax. Okay, remember that image. This is many people have written letters to us sharing their when they come home, and so let's take the whatever time you have left, mm, to yeah to allow yourself to be open. So thank you for coming and taking care of yourself and doing it together as a community. And we'll end here and then sit and close our eyes and send some love to ourselves, that we are on the process of unfolding and beginning anew, and to trusting.
Beloved Phap, thank you so much. You are exactly what we need to be today. Maybe we can all offer Phap some flowers and double flowers. Thank you. We knew we could count on you to say what we needed to hear. We knew we could count on you to say what we needed to hear and to break through all of our perceived notions and ideas about things, to be the rebel, to be the true artist, and to encourage us to be the same. So we're deeply grateful for agreeing to speak to us and be here with us. It feels actually like we're in the hall, because the two halls look pretty similar at the moment. And maybe the people sitting here don't realize that you had to get up extremely early to be here with us. So you're 2 hours behind, and you started to speak at 7 a.m. this time. So we really appreciate that. Your generosity in sharing your life experiences and your life wisdom with us, and we really hope we can integrate and take on board all of that wisdom, all of that joy, and the permission to break the rules. And we wish you a lot of fun, joy, success with the teenagers in Denmark. Yeah. Please know we send you a lot of gratitude, deeply humbled. Thank you.